This is TB Talks and BS Walks. Join the conversation or the BS. Here are the masterminds behind the microphone, Tyler and Brian.
All right, everybody, welcome to TB Talks BS Walks for another fun episode with myself, BS, and my co-host, TB. Tyler, what we got going on today?
Not much, man. Just had a pretty tough day at work, so just kind of relaxing a little bit. Nothing on the agenda tonight.
I hear you. I wish. I still have to go to work tonight. Been spending the last 3 days sleeping in a recliner because my back's just been acting up. So,
yeah, man. I've said it before. I don't envy you though, working those night shifts.
Yeah. I just got too used to them, I guess. I dread the day I go back to days and have to deal with sunlight.
All right.
Yeah.
No, just coming off a big weekend though with the big game, Super Bowl and all that, and so I decided that this week I wasn't going to do much. Just going to kind of take it easy, maybe do some stuff around the house.
Nice. Now I've heard, I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't even know who was playing until after it was over. But I heard that the game was really good between the two teams. And I heard the halftime was decent and that even the starting didn't have a lot of controversy that people were afraid was going to happen.
As far as Super Bowls are concerned, it was the best one I think I've ever watched. I mean, there was a ton of action. It actually set a record for most total yards in any Super Bowl. They had 1,150-something total yards between the two teams, which, if you're not very sports savvy, that's crazy yards. So it was a good game. Great outcome. Obviously, Tom Brady and the Patriots going down. So that made it even better for me.
Not biased at all.
As far as... No, I just hate the Patriots. Justin Timberlake's performance, good. Didn't sit well with some people for some reason. But, I thought it was good.
I heard something about a hologram. Was it Prince, or was it a hologram, or was it just vocal?
It wasn't an actual hologram. There were rumors that he was going to have a hologram, but he quickly disposed of those. He did, however, have a sheet. It was like a huge sheet, almost like a projector screen, with a display of Prince on it singing. It wasn't actual hologram, but I mean, it was like someone had just put up a video of Prince singing up on this huge screen in the background. And they actually played the track from Prince's album that Justin was singing with. So it was kind of cool. Some people said it was in poor taste just because he hasn't been dead that long. And Prince actually made a comment that, doing a tribute to somebody like that or using a hologram was distasteful.
No.
So, Justin Timberlake didn't do it, for that reason. Didn't have the hologram. But he said do a tribute to Prince, which is really cool, because Prince is huge in Minnesota. And during one of the songs, they actually turned, the whole city purple.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of cool, man. JT's performance was great. I've seen better, but wasn't his finest. But I mean, it was good. I don't have any major complaints about it.
Well, that's good. I mean, I remember the mess up last time he was at a Super Bowl. So everybody was kind of interested to see how this one was going to go. And I'm glad to see that it went well.
Well, the bets were either that NSYNC was going to make an appearance or that Janet Jackson was going to appear again. So neither one of which happened.
I wouldn't have minded seeing NSYNC. That would have been pretty
wouldn't
cool.
have minded at all. I fangirled over him back in the 90s, and I'd fangirl over him now. So
Exactly.
So you didn't watch the game. Did you do anything
No.
at all this weekend?
Well, it was my birthday weekend, so we had.
That's right, it was.
Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
birthday, pal.
Thank you. We did. We went to one of my favorite restaurants, and then we hung out with my in-laws for a while, just talking, and then had some, more dinner, and then the next day was a Valentine's party at my aunt's house. So we all went to my aunt's house and had a Valentine's dinner there, and played with the kids, and then Monday they gave me a day off at work, which of course was Super Bowl, so that was Sunday actually. But I had no idea. I didn't even know about. Like I said, I didn't know the Super Bowl was going on until the day after it was over. So that whole day I just streamed, played games, just chilled out and relaxed at home because I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything. So I didn't even hear about the Super Bowl until I came into work the next day, and you're like, "Oh yeah, the Eagles won." I'm like, against who? Doing what?
Clearly, you're
Bowl,
not a
right?
sports
Super
fan,
Bowl.
my friend.
No. Green Bay didn't make it. Why would I care?
Well, Patriots were going to try to set the record for it would have been the 6th ring for the Brady-Belichick era, which would have set a record, but it didn't happen. They were thwarted, which is cool.
Oh.
And Nick Foles, who was the quarterback for the Eagles, who wasn't even starting. Their starting quarterback went down with an injury, and so he took over, and he stated that he wanted to become a pastor after his football career. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he won MVP of the Super Bowl, and so it was cool, man. But yeah, if you're not a football fan or a sports fan, you don't pay much attention to the big game, I guess.
No, I can't say that I do. I don't even know who did the World Series this year. I don't know who made it to the Stanley Cup. I don't know who made it to the whatever the soccer one's called.
That'd be the World Cup.
Was that the World Cup? Ah, okay.
It is.
Well, between the Stanley Cup and the World Cup, somebody's drinking too much. I don't know.
Do you know who won the Royal Rumble? That was another thing that happened since the last time we talked.
Cena?
WWE Royal Rumble was on. No, he did not.
Oh, well then no, I have no clue.
Shinsuke Nakamura won the Royal Rumble, who is a up-and-coming Japanese superstar. And they had the first ever all-women's Royal Rumble, which is kind of cool. They had a bunch of returning oldies. So the inner wrestling fan to me, I did tune in to watch it. I don't follow wrestling near as closely as I used to, just because the storylines aren't nearly as intriguing as they once were. After they went PG, everything kind of died down. So I don't follow it as much, but I do like to tune into the big ones, Royal Rumble, and then I'll watch WrestleMania in March. So, but yeah. So, anyways, this I didn't really have anything on my agenda for the show. We talked to Rod last week. I do have an update on that. He was in for some surgeries to just continue the process of him trying to get healthy to get this transplant. So, from what I can tell, surgeries went well.
Good.
So he's just another step closer to getting everything on board. So I hope some of you guys donated.
Yeah. Definitely. I hope he's getting there, man. That's a lot of work, and it's a lot of suffering. So I hope he's getting through. Did you have something on your end? I know you had a couple things you wanted to discuss on the show, at least some bullet points maybe to kind of hit. I know there was a lot of information on the Daca stuff. Yes, the Daca and the Fisa memo. Now, I'd like to start with the Fisa memo just because that's what's more recent on my brain, because it just happened. Basically, what it covered is that everything that, most people were concerned about, the Russian involvement with Trump and all this, it said was false. So the guy, his name is Steele, I do believe, and his dossier that he had put together to, show Trump colluding with Russia was found to be false, that it was a lot of information that was not verified. So we have another memo coming out. It's to somehow affect the first memo. I don't know exactly how, but this is what we have to look forward to over the next God knows how long. Just trying to get this whole thing situated that people don't want to drop. Then we have the Daca deal, and this is, to my understanding, this is the reason for the most recent shutdown that's coming up here soon. The government shutdown is
supposed to be tomorrow, I thought.
Yeah, I think so. And it's supposed to be a deal between Trump and Congress that Trump has agreed to allow the Dreamers to stay. He's agreed to approve that bill, but the deal is that they have to fund the wall. They have to build the wall. And so that's where the argument lies right now, is because he's conceding to allow what they want to happen, which is the Dreamers to stay. But his main rules were they had to be working, they had to be contributing to these United States, and they had to fund the wall to be built. And they don't like the idea of building the wall, which they haven't been since the beginning, but this is kind of where he's trying to get to that middle ground, because he didn't want the Dreamers to stay. He didn't want any illegal immigrants to stay, Dreamer or otherwise. So this is kind of him trying to reach that middle ground and still get what he wants. So I don't know how this is going to go, and I don't know how long this shutdown's going to go for. So we'll see.
If it even happens.
At this point, you never know. I didn't even know the last shutdown happened until it was over. Again, I knew it was supposed to happen. I knew what day, but nothing changed in my world that made me realize, the government shut down. Nothing. Like, everybody still functioned.
Yeah, obviously, the House Republicans passed a bill supposed to change in the Senate. As it's written now, it's supposed to boost defense funding for the next year, while only funding domestic programs. But then the Senate's probably going to strip that out of the defense funding, which Democrats won't support.
Yeah.
In exchange for they'll do that in exchange for a long-term budget, a deal on long-term budget numbers, possibly an agreement on the debt ceiling. I just don't think, man, that it's going to happen. Personally,
yeah,
I think it's all scare tactic, but.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that going around. But that's who you're dealing with. That's that's Trump.
Well,
he does a lot of fear tactics, so they're starting to adjust and react accordingly. So, at least that's the way I see it. It's like, okay, well, you got somebody who's trying to threaten us all the time and fear tactics and, uses his power to the full extent. Well, then maybe we should too. So now we got power struggles all over the place because everybody's trying to match up to Trump's craziness.
I saw where Nancy Pelosi set a record for the length of her speech or something like that regarding Daca.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me.
Man, it was like... I don't know how long it was, but it was a long speech. It was several hours. But she sat there and talked on Daca forever. Mm-hmm. She's 77 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I got Bernie and
I don't know,
her
man.
that are up there in age that try to sound like they're, in with the new and ready to move on. But I'm sorry, the whole Congress system to me just seems like old people still being allowed to function in Congress and being paid gross amounts of money and constantly getting their raises approved every year while nothing changes anywhere else. I've said it before and I'll say it until the day I die. They need to have terms just like the presidency. and not get paid so flippin' much. Like, I'm sorry, when you're on a multi-million-dollar income yearly and you still approve yourself raises, like, why? We got a country in $1 billion of debt, and you need to have $1 million more a year? Like, what are you doing that you need that much money?
We'll come down to our level. I only get a 3% increase in my pay every year.
Oh,
They'd shit themselves if they only got that much.
I don't get any. At my job, that doesn't happen. Like, I have to fight for my raise, and my boss is fighting for my raise right now. But, you know, I can't help that. That's just where I work and the type of environment it is. In order for me to get any kind of raise, we have to have more people playing and, you know, going to the races and all that stuff. Business has to increase for us to see anything.
Yeah.
What has increased in Congress? Like, what have they changed that would increase their need? To me, it seems like everything has been the same since, you know, I've been old enough to follow politics. It's just been the same. But that's because we have the same people in there that were in there when I started watching politics. I mean, for gosh sakes, what was his name? Tom Kennedy or whatever was in there.
Yeah.
I think his name was Tom. Tom Kennedy was in the Congress for, God, no, he was what, 97? They rolled him in to make a vote in a wheelchair. Rolled him in to make a vote because he was still part of Congress, but he couldn't talk. He couldn't even move. They put his hand on the vote because he had to press a button. They put his hand on the button so that he could press it and then rolled him away. Like, okay, I'm sorry. At that point, you're probably too old to be in Congress. Like, if you can't voice your own opinion and move your own hand to make your own vote, like, maybe not be part of Congress anymore. Like, why aren't they on 4-year terms or 8-year terms? I don't care if it's 8 or 10 years, but they should be on a term. When you got people our age growing up.
Well, I think they're not on a term. I thought they were because I have a friend of mine is on the. He's a state representative here in Missouri. Mm-hmm. And this is his last year, but I mean it's his last year because he can't run anymore. So I think they are on terms. I don't know how long it is though.
To my understanding, not in Congress. Like for the low level, like state representatives, that sort of thing. Yes, you do have term limits that you have to abide by, but you can move to a different state and start all over. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't see why that should matter though. I mean, I think it should be the same in the House and the Senate. I mean, the whole 9 yards, 4-year
but we
term,
vote.
You're done. Or 8.
We vote for new Congress members. We do vote for them, but they aren't on a term. It doesn't come to a definite end. It's not like we could vote somebody out this year and then vote them back in the next time the votes come around. Like, that's
what I'm saying is, I mean, they should be like a president though, or anybody else. Like, even if you keep getting voted back in, once you've done 8 years. You can't do it anymore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've said. Just serve your term limit and be done. Thomas Kennedy was in Congress for years, dude. Years. They said he was one of the longest running Congress members. Because they just kept voting him in. And I don't know how. He's in the wheelchair. He can't talk, so I don't know what his platform was. But somehow he was still voted in. So
yeah, it's like Will and the Deaf Mute out there.
So it's stuff we have to deal with. That I've always felt like we need to change. Congress, you should only be able to serve so long, and then you can't go in Congress ever again. Period. Like, maybe you should have it a stepping stone. You become a mayor, and then you become a state representative, and then you can become a congressman, and then you're done. And that's where it ends. Just retiring from that alone, that's what? If you did 4 years in each one of those in a stepping stone, that's 15 years or more. That's 12 years or more.
Well, and then I know you get some kind of retirement too from, which I'm sure the retirement's pretty good.
You
do.
It's almost what? I can't remember. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 100% retirement, to be honest with you. The way they approve things for themselves.
It'd be close, man. I don't know.
That should be something that we vote on. Like, they vote on
Right.
everything that considers us, but when it comes to their pay and their raise, I think we're the ones who should decide that one, not them. Because if they're going to decide how I live and what I have to be okay with and, all this other stuff that they throw on top of states that's supposed to be at a state level that they stick their nose in, well, then I should be able to vote on whether they get a raise or not and how much a year they should get. It shouldn't be decided by them. Like, they decide everything else for the rest of us. It's not about us, really, though.
I found out some information that I didn't know, and I almost put my foot in my mouth when I found out this information. I mean, I'm glad I chose to not say anything, because when I found out the information, I would have made a total fool of myself. But apparently, Walmart managers get so much percentage of their annual salary. Like if they hit their
bonus and
what is it? Their but it's like their what is it? Shares, some kind of shares. Within their investors. So like if they hit 100% of that, they get like 56% of their annual salary. So the moral of my story is, I installed a couple machines at Walmart in Arkansas yesterday, and I was down there, and I had to move a couple of their rugs they had as you come in the door there, because I had to wheel the machine in, and they like to get caught up on those rugs.
Right.
So I moved the rugs out of the way, and they were just kind of in a pile there in the middle of the entryway. They weren't affecting anything. They weren't in anybody's way. I mean, they were in between the exit and the entrance. So I continue to do my work, and a Walmart manager comes to me, I don't know, about 30 minutes later, and he was complaining because I had left the rugs in a big pile. And I said, I meant to go back out there and lay it back down, but I said I got busy. I said I hadn't made it out there yet. I apologize. And he said, it's like if somebody trips and falls over those, it costs me $21,000. And so what I wanted to say was, well, I'm sure that's not costing you 21 grand. I'm sure that doesn't come out of your pocket. But come to find out, it does. Because of their employment shares,
profit share,
investing in the profit share. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, because of their profit sharing, anything like that happens takes away from their bonus. Because I think it's if they hit like 100% or whatever their profit shares, they get 56% of their salary all at once in another check.
Yep.
So my coworker was telling me that a buddy of his was a Walmart manager. They're a manager at Sam's Club, and he made like $128,000 a year was what he normally made. So they hit like 100% of their profit sharing, and so he got his normal pay at the end of the year, but he got an additional like $50,000-$60,000 check in one lump sum because he got half of his annual salary because they hit their bonus. And I thought, I mean, that's crazy, man. I mean, that's insane.
Well,
I almost stuck my foot in my mouth.
Yeah. We both spent our time with Walmart. We both worked.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but any
accident that happened affected our profit share, because we would get a bonus check too, but ours was like quarterly, and we would get when I first started it was quarterly, and then it became biannually, or biannually, I think so, and then annually. So
I didn't get very many, so I guess
in the 10, 12 years I worked for Walmart, I only got like 2 bonus checks ever. So, like, every accident affected it, every theft affected it, every time we had to call the cops affected it. Like, everything affected that profit share. So, a lot of times, I didn't see it. Yeah. So, it is a very fickle thing. Well,
and that makes, like I said, and that makes, it makes sense to me now, too, why the Walmart is so anal about things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
So I was going to tell you before I forget. You didn't watch the Super Bowl, so you didn't probably see the commercials. But did you see the the Dundee movie trailer?
I've seen it show up on YouTube because I still visit a lot of people on YouTube and watch their stuff when I'm editing videos. So I have seen a few of those.
There are people that are furious because that's fake. Did you know that?
Oh, it's not a real... The Son of Dundee is not a real thing?
That is not going to be a real movie. That was a travel ad for Tourism Australia.
Nice.
And people are pissed.
Because they wanted to see it?
Because you had Danny McBride and Chris Hemsworth were in the trailer, and it looked
I
like
would have seen it for Chris Hemsworth, but I would not. Like, I don't mind Danny McBride. I've seen Your Highness. It's a stupid, funny movie, but I saw that not just because of Danny McBride, but because James Franco was in it as well. So
yeah.
To see Hemsworth in that commercial, I wanted to see it just because Chris Hemsworth was in it. But the first commercial I ever saw was just Danny McBride, and then made it seem so stupid I didn't even want to try it. I was just not for it at all because I watched the original Crocodile Dundees. That was one of the first movies I remember seeing. Everybody quotes that. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Everybody quotes that. So when they had Danny McBride suddenly show up, and he's supposed to be the son of Dundee that came from New York, where Dundee was from, it threw me off. Like, I just was not looking forward to it until I saw Hemsworth, and I'm like, okay, that combination right there will be freaking hilarious.
We're not going to have to worry about it because no one's going to see it. And everybody's pissed about it. And the Super Bowl, they revealed, because they were teasing about it on YouTube and stuff leading up to the big game.
Yeah.
Well, then they showed the final trailer during the Super Bowl, and it revealed it was a tourism ad for Australia. So they said, well, how can you take, you can take this trailer, make a $200 million trailer and not release a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
they have a good platform to jump off of, though. I'm sure if Danny McBride pushed for it, and Hemsworth, if they really were behind the idea, they probably could make the movie just between the two of them. I don't know how well I'd like it, but it looks like just the chemistry between those two would be hilarious. It might be worth it just to watch them two talk to each other. Like,